right, guys. So today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, but before we do so, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Where we're constantly bringing you, TA about some of the hottest coins in the market. Most of the TA goes out on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, and on Fridays. But yeah, make sure to subscribe so you can, take a look at those analysis. Also, you can follow us, all of the hosts that are going to be talking to you about some technical analysis. Me is Ali Martinez, and you can follow me on Twitter at Ali_charts. You can also follow Akash at Mac and Co with a zero at the end. And you can follow Jonathan Just Analysis One. So I want to take a look at Bitcoin from an on-chain perspective because I'm starting to see some bullish signs right here, right? I mean, of course, the price action that we have been seeing lately is it's been quite bullish. In the sense that yeah, Bitcoin was able to basically rebound right from 40,000 and is currently trading about $55,000, which is great. But as you can see, we're starting to see basically an uptrend in the number of new addresses being created on the Bitcoin network, which basically supports the upward price action, right? Anytime that we see prices going up while the number of new addresses that are being created is going down, then that tends to create kind of like a bearish divergence between the network activity and prices, right? Which tends to lead to basically a bearish impulse. We were able to see that right in January, right, where basically the number of new addresses being created on the Bitcoin network peaked at a high of 682,000 addresses on January 10th. And at that moment, I think prices were trading around $40,000. Although prices continue going up, right? There was a bearish divergence against the network activity as the highest number of new addresses creating on the network basically just continue making a series of lower lows and lower highs, right? So right now, I mean, we have been seeing that the lowest point so far this year was basically achieved in late June, and since then, basically this on-chain metric has been making a series of higher highs and higher lows with a new peak of 500,000 new addresses being created. I believe it was yesterday. Yeah. So that's basically supports the bullish price action that we have been seeing lately and could potentially lead to higher highs as long as these on-chain metric continues going on. Now, the now from in terms of supply, I mean, basically support and resistance, what we can see is that Bitcoin is trying to overcome this significant resistance or supply barrier that it was sits basically between 54,000 and 55,400. So basically, if we're able to get a decisive close above $55,400, then it may take a little bit of time to break through the next significant supply barrier that basically sits between 55,500 and 58,500. But that's where Bitcoin will potentially go next if we're able to close on the daily technical chart above 55,400. But after basically Bitcoin clears the $58,500 level, there's literally no significant resistance ahead that could prevent it from achieving new all-time highs, right? So that's really encouraging to see from an on-chain perspective, and also, right, I mean, as long as prices are able to hold basically above 54,600, everything will be good for Bitcoin, and the outlook, at least from an on-chain perspective, will remain bullish. But if Bitcoin were to break below $54,600, then we could potentially see a downswing towards 52,000 or even the psychological $50,000 price level. So yeah, so it does appear like the odds are currently favoring the bulls, and also I mean, we have seen that whales are continuing to buy while the number of Bitcoin available on exchanges continues to plummet, right? So basically, since October 3rd, um, roughly 200,000 Bitcoin have left exchanges, which is quite bullish because what that tells you is that the selling pressure behind Bitcoin is diminishing, right? And now there's not that many Bitcoins available to sell on trading platforms, right? So that is another bullish development that I'm seeing. So based on the network activity, right, in terms of the new addresses being created, kind of like the supply of Bitcoin being held on exchanges, right? The continuous buying pressure that we're seeing from whales. Um, I believe that Bitcoin could be bound for further gains, but I would love to see a daily close above 55,400, right? And that will basically make me very bullish. And that is when that happens, right? Then I will be looking at a potential resistance around 57,000. And then once Bitcoin is able to clear the $58,500 level, I believe it's pretty much opener to new all-time highs. On the bearish perspective, right? I will be looking at a potential close below $54,600, which that will tell me that a potential correction is coming towards basically 52 or $50,000. But as of right now, I am leaning more bullish than anything. I don't know what you're looking at from a technical perspective, Jonathan.
Sure, I'll just take over screen here quick. So on the daily chart here in the Ichimoku system, I mean, everything's, I mean, one of the most bullish conditions that it can fall into as far as triggering events for major bullish expansion phases is when you get that Chiku span and the close both breaking up above the cloud and Chiku span above the candlesticks, which is great. So, I mean, everything here on the daily chart screams bullish continuation. Still, it looks very top heavy here, given where we're at in the RSI, struggling to get above 65. Nice to see that Bitcoin did move to a high that invalidated the hidden bearish divergence that we looked at last time. So that's no longer there. But the optics bands are in an extreme. So that's indicating a bit of a short-term top, which is further confirmed by this gap that exists between the current close and this blue line here, which is the Tenkan Sen. Within the Ichimoku system, there gaps between the close and the Tenkan Sen don't last very long. It doesn't really tolerate extended periods of time between this kind of a gap here before there's some type of corrective move. And that'd bring it down roughly into that 50K, 48 to 50K zone as far as a corrective move lower. Additionally, on the point figure charts, on the $250 chart, you're seeing it kind of getting to a broadening top pattern here, indicating a short-term high is developing. And then you have these extended columns of X's on the $1,000 3-box reversal and on the $500 3-box reversal. I'm currently set up for a mean reversion short if it comes back down to 53.5 to target that 50-ish K zone, 48 to 50K zone if it gets there. But also buy limit orders down there as well. But yeah, it's definitely a little top heavy here, but overall, it's definitely eliminated a lot of the near-term hidden bearish divergence that did exist on its run up. So that's what I see.
I have a question, Jonathan.
Sure.
Do you mind continue sharing your screen, please?
Oh yeah.
So you said that you're positioning yourself for a potential short, right? So for that to be activated, basically you want Bitcoin to fall below 53,500 from what I can see?
Yeah, it'll trigger
That will
once
be
it
your
moves down to
trigger?
50. Yeah, once it moves to 53,500. Yeah, that will trigger.
Okay, and then your stop loss you will set it up at around 55,500, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. If it moves up still, and if there's no corrective move within this column, so I mean, technically it could keep going up, but then the trail here just keeps going too. You know, this is called a spike pattern in point figure analysis. It's any column that is 15 or more X's or O's, and they're very aggressive patterns to trade because you are, you know, getting in at the beginning of some type of corrective move, which is not often a trend change, it's just a corrective move. So you got to be very, very active with that setup.
Okay, and my question to you is then, what gets you bullish? Like, when do you go from a, you know, short-term bear to a you know, short-term bull and long-term bull?
Well, this breakout, you know, any breakout, I mean, over the years, I've just never trusted a single breakout. What matters to me is the confirmation swing low. So this breakout, I mean, could it just go, you know, Shiba Inu mode? Sure. But you don't want that. I mean, I'm a long-term bull with cryptocurrencies. And so I want to see some evidence of honesty and integrity in the move. And for that to occur, that means that prices need to come down here and bulls basically have to defend it. And I want to see buyers come in during a period of weakness to support that price action. And then once that holds, if 48 to 50K holds as support, then to me, that is the final kind of linchpin before we start to see new all-time highs. I would be surprised if we were to just continue from here and push up to new all-time highs. Well, I wouldn't be surprised because it's cryptocurrencies, but I would be surprised. But
Okay,
that makes
okay, but there, so there is no price point that you can tell that would signal for you just a continuation of the uptrend without a brief correction, right? Because, like, I mean, we do know that 58,000, 59,000, let's say that the next psychological level, 60K, could potentially give a little bit of resistance to Bitcoin's uptrend, right? But at what price point, basically at a new all-time high, then you avoid the short-term bearish perspective?
Yeah.
Or when exactly?
I mean, if I'm looking at I haven't updated the volume profile here much, but if I'm looking at the volume profile on the left, any sustained move that holds really above 58 to 59K that's likely to be the new short-term floor. And that's likely to act as the next launching point towards that 90 to 103K zone. So that, yeah, it's
perfect.
I think from an investing perspective, people would want to see resistance between 55 and 60K and then see a pullback back down to 50K. I mean, that is a very healthy thing. The volume point of control for 2020 just shifted too, by the way, for 2021 just shifted into that 48K range. So a return down there to test as support would be extremely bullish. That would be necessary in my opinion.
Okay, that's really good to know. So basically, a sustained close above 58,500, 59,000 could potentially build a floor in there where then you could, you know, be leaning a little bit more bullish, but you still want you know, to like basically a short-term correction to keep the uptrend healthy, right? And for Bitcoin basically to collect liquidity to have like the potential of going that higher. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we don't want to see parabolic rises. Those are not healthy. They're fun, but they're not healthy. If you want something healthy,
they're definitely fun.
Yeah, they're definitely fun, but if you want a healthy market that is growing and is sustainable, you need to see pullbacks in uptrends.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, Cash, what are you looking at from a lower time perspective?
Okay, so I'm kind of have to align with what Jonathan was saying. I'm also bearish on the short term. I'm expecting a dip into this demand zone here, which ranges from 47K to roughly 48K. But I'm still looking out for the 50K psychological level and how it reacts off here. So my first reason for being short is like the fib extension that I've drawn from the all-time high to this low here. Like to me, this broke out the market structure, which was like the low was here, right? So we broke out on this move down, broke out. So the fib that I draw from here to here, it shows me like this is basically the reversal zone for me. And right now we've pierced above the 70.5K. And typically when this happens, I'm expecting a retracement and then a move higher. So this is my first reason. And the second reason is obviously the momentum reversal indicator, which is already flashed a red one. That's another thing. And from an on-chain perspective, right? If you look at the 365-day MVRV, it's around 30%, which is quite higher than what we saw when we actually hit 53K, roughly 52K here. So that is another reason why I'm expecting a small sell-off. But other than that, I think the main reason, another reason is the OI divergence that I see here. Price is forming a higher high, but the OI is forming a lower low. Kind of similar to what RSI divergences indicate. So yeah, so for these reasons, I'm expecting a short-term move to the downside. And I think this demand zone would be the perfect place for it to bounce off of and start another run up to the next psychological level, which is $60,000 here. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay. So I'm guessing that then your invalidation point for your short-term bearish perspective would be $57,300, right?
Yeah, roughly around that point.
Yeah. Okay. That also correlates with the IO map from into the block. So
Right.
okay, cool. So it seems like yeah, I mean, you guys are both leaning bearish from a short-term perspective. In the meantime, I believe that we are definitely gonna go up and tap that $57,300 level that you have in there. Whether that close will happen today or within this weekend, I don't know if Bitcoin will be able to close above $58,000. I mean, we have seen the bullish price action on the weekends over the past few weeks, right? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so basically, go ahead.
Just one more thing, right? On a 3-day time frame, this supply zone here, we kind of pierced this on like 4th October or the previous rally that we saw, and kind of closed a little inside this zone. But depending on how it closes, if it kind of closes inside this, then yes, there's a possibility that we could go higher, retest the 79 fib, and maybe then think of retracing. But the retest of 57K, 57,300 is also on the table, considering the ETF news, right? Like people are eager, trying to fund run and like buy BTC. So that is also a possibility that I'm looking at.
Yeah. I mean, so basically to summarize, I mean, from an on-chain perspective, I am seeing the continuation of the bull trend. I believe that the way that the number of new addresses are being created on the network is, bringing a lot of interest into Bitcoin, and there is a lot of buying pressure coming in. The same thing I'm seeing from Wells, so not only from retail investors, but also from Wells, who are like continuously scooping more Bitcoins. The supply of Bitcoin on exchanges is going down, which technically decreases the amount of selling pressure behind these assets. So based on that, I believe that Bitcoin can continue going up. But the IO map is showing me that there could be significant resistance between 57,000 and 58,500, right? So as of right now, I will guess that Bitcoin will go up and touch that zone, and then we could get that small correction that Akash and Jonathan are talking about. But I believe that correction, if we go up to 58,000, that correction is going to be capped at around $52,000 before it continues going up, right? Now, to kind of like summarize the short-term bearish perspective from Akash and Jonathan, right? One of the things that we see right here, for example, is the appearance of a sell signal by the MRI indicator, which usually tends to lead to a 1 to 4 daily candlestick corrections, right? If this were to happen, right, if we get to a spike in selling pressure around the current price levels and Bitcoin manages to break below $54,200, then the next key areas of support that Jonathan and Akash are seeing basically sits just below the 50,000 psychological level, and that's around $48,000. So based on their perspective, if that were to happen, it is very likely that, investors would jump the gun and they will start buying in there, right, pushing the prices even higher, and potentially towards a new all-time high. So yeah, our perspective is a little bit different right now, but yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and yeah, follow us on Twitter.